Now, a couple of weeks ago I mentioned the account of Ruth, the book of Ruth, right after Judges, and at the beginning of that story of Ruth, Ruth lived in relative obscurity. No one knew who she was, and in her life everything had gone wrong. Her husband had just died, father-in-law had just died, brother-in-law had just died, and she was a foreigner in a strange land. And at the end of the story we find that Ruth is a woman with favour and a good name, favour with God and with humanity in the community. The son that she bore became the grandfather of King David. And the Lord Jesus Christ was born from that family line. For Ruth, favour and a good name came her way when she walked with the right people. You need to walk with the right people. You really do. I'm telling you, be careful who you walk with. In the book of Ruth, chapter 1, verse 16, Ruth and her mother-in-law, whose name is Naomi, are coming back from a foreign country, Moab, back to Bethlehem. And as they come back to Bethlehem, Ruth's father-in-law has died, her husband has died, her brother-in-law has died, and so for Naomi, her mother-in-law, her husband has died, her two sons have died. And as she comes back to Bethlehem, everyone says, "Oh, welcome home, Naomi." And Naomi, the name means pleasant or sweet. It's like a sweet aroma. And she said, "Well, don't you call me Naomi anymore." So the Lord has dealt bitterly with me. Call me Mara, which means bitterness. And I have come back empty. I have nothing left. And if I'm thinking about that, you've got nothing left. Look who's with you. You've got nothing left. Who's that with you? Just Ruth, your daughter-in-law. Sometimes we think that we've got nothing left when we've got everything. I think of the woman in the time of Elisha, and Elisha comes, this woman, her husband had died. She's about to sell her sons into slavery to keep the creditors from her door. And Elisha says, "What do you have?" She says, "Nothing." "Oh, except that small amount of oil." And you know the story how Elisha sent the sons out into the community, and every time they brought back jars. And this is one of those miracles of God. Every time they poured the oil, filled another jar, and filled it. As long as they were empty jars, they had all the oil they needed to sell and to provide for this woman. That's got nothing, just a bit of oil. Think about the boy out on the hillsides when Jesus was preaching to the 5,000, and the disciples said the crowd here needs some food, but no one's got anything. Only a boy with a couple of loaves and a few fish that fed 5,000. And what have you got? What have you got there, Naomi? Nothing, I'm empty, just Ruth, that's all I've got here. Think about King David, the man who became King David, and there's Goliath. What do you got? Nothing. Just a slingshot and a couple of stones. A slingshot and a couple of stones. One stone that'd bring a giant down. So what do you got? What do you got, Elijah? Even I only am left, and they seek my life to take it away. Jesus said, and the God said, just look around, you'll see that there are 7,000 here who are with you, who have not bowed the knee to the false god Baal. What do you got, Naomi? Just Ruth. Ruth 1:16, Ruth said, where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God. And that's the way it worked out. And it was favour and a good name for Ruth and Naomi. She found favour with God and a good name with God and with humanity. The people that you hang out with and allow to speak into your life will in a large measure determine whether or not you will find favour with God and with humanity. And wherever you have a God-given destiny with a certain individual, do whatever it takes to let no separation come between you and that individual. As God has put you together. 2 Kings chapter 12 verse 2, Joash, he was the king, did what was right in the eyes of the Lord all the years Jehoiada the priest instructed him. He's doing good and favour and a good name while he's listening to Jehoiada. He did God's way, good counsel. Now look what happens. 2 Chronicles 24 verse 17. After the death of Jehoiada, the officials of Judah came and paid homage to the king, and he was to them. things went from bad to worse. They deserted the temple of God and took up with the cult of sex goddesses. Proverbs 13 verse 20 says, walk with the wise and become wise. As long as Joash was listening to Jehoiada and walking with him, things were good. When he died, and then the people that he began to walk with took him down a bad road. Proverbs 8:35, those who find wisdom is the key word, because you've got to be intentional and proactive. Those who find wisdom find life and receive favour from the Lord. As I look at all the various translations, and there's any amount of translations, go to Bible Gateway, you just see the multitude of translations, and they translate variously this word: find wisdom, find favour, find, discover, seek, obtain, make the choice. So if you're ever going to find yourself in a place of favour and a good name, you'll need to seek God and His wisdom. You're going to have to be intentional about that. Now, you know, when kids play hide and seek, if the kids that are hidden don't have anyone seeking for them, they won't find them. They'll stay hidden. Someone's got to do the seeking. They've got to do the looking. And when it comes to finding favour and a good name, you've got to seek it out. You've got to look for it. Now, God will give you opportunities. You've got to look and see them. And I think of Saul, we're just talking about our Connect group a couple of weeks ago. We wrapped it up for term 2. And how many should be in the Connect group? I wonder here, because they're just good. We're starting off term 3 with Christmas in July. Thank you, Les, for teeing it up. Thank you for you folks that said you're excited about it. Thank you that you said you're coming. Getting the Christmas tree up. We're getting ready for our Christmas. But we finished off term 2 with a little study. Sent out an email to everyone, so we're going to do this study, and it's going to be pretty good. And someone emailed back and said, can I do a little bit of study on before we get this? I'm well informed as well. It's actually from Genesis to Revelation, so why not? Pretty well was. And but we did hone in on Samuel. You know, the people wanted a king, and Samuel didn't think that they probably needed one, and God didn't either, but nevertheless God gave in to their demand, and sometimes God will do that to your detriment. So be careful what you ask for. Anyway, there was a Benjaminite, a man of standing, whose name was Kish, son of Abiel, son of Zeror, son of Becharath, the son of Aphiah of Benjamin. Kish had a son named Saul, as handsome a young man as could be found anywhere in Israel. He was a head taller than anyone else. He looks good, doesn't he? This guy really